At over 4,000 meters above sea level, the air itself works against you. Nearly 40% less oxygen. Your body struggles just to stand still. This is not a place humans are meant to live. Yet, massive stone structures are here. Perfectly cut platforms. Blocks weighing dozens of tons, placed with precision that shouldn't be possible. They were built thousands of years ago. The real question isn't how, but why build anything here at all? Today, we're looking at some of the most impossible ancient structures ever created, in places where survival itself is a challenge. High in the Andes, the air thins. Breathing becomes slow, heavy, and uncertain. Even standing still feels like effort. Long-term survival is difficult here, with little oxygen and almost no vegetation. Temperatures can drop without warning. These are not places for homes. They are places people avoid. Yet, stone platforms exist here. Not large cities or defensive structures, they show no signs of permanent settlement. No clear storage, no living quarters, no daily life infrastructure. Just carefully placed stone platforms, positioned on ridges, peaks, and isolated ledges, often above the clouds. Getting to these locations is not simple. The terrain is steep, unstable, and exposed. Moving materials here would require planning, coordination, and repeated effort, in an environment that actively resists human presence. And still, these platforms were built with precision. So the question is not just how,
but why here? One explanation is ritual. In ancient Andean beliefs, high places were seen as closer to the sky,
closer to forces beyond human control. Mountains were sacred. Building upward may have been a way to connect with something beyond the physical world. But that still leaves a gap. If these sites were only symbolic, why invest so much effort into locations that offer nothing in return? No resources, no long-term use, just exposure, risk, and isolation. And there's another detail that stands out. Many of these platforms are not random. They are deliberately positioned, often aligned with surrounding peaks or placed where visibility stretches for miles. From these points, the landscape opens up in every direction. It's not just elevation, it's placement, which raises a different possibility. These structures were not built despite the extreme conditions. They were built because of them. Places where fewer people could go. Places that required intention to reach. Places that separate the ordinary from something else. Not settlements, not accidents. Chosen locations. And whatever happened here was meant to happen far above the rest of the world. Across the lava fields and open deserts of Arabia, there are shapes on the ground so large, you don't see them while standing inside them. You only understand them from above. Long lines of stone stretch for hundreds of meters. Some form giant triangles. Others look like wheels, circles, or branching funnels that narrow into tight enclosures. From the sky, they appear deliberate, engineered. On the ground, they feel almost invisible, blending into rock and sand. Locals have known about them for generations. They called them the works of the old men. No clear origin, no written record, just the quiet assumption that they were already ancient, even to those who first named them. What makes them unsettling isn't just their size, it's their scale of planning. To create these shapes, someone had to understand the layout as a whole. The lines are too long, too straight, too consistent to be random. But without an elevated view, the full design wouldn't even be visible during construction. So how were they planned? One explanation is practical: hunting traps. The long, narrowing walls, often called kites, could guide animals into a confined space, making large-scale hunting more efficient. It's a logical idea. It explains the funnel shapes. It explains the enclosures. But it doesn't explain everything. Some of these structures are not optimized for trapping. Some are too complex. But without an elevated view, the full design wouldn't even be visible during construction. So how were they planned? There's also the environment itself. Today, much of this region is harsh, dry, and exposed. Sustained activity here is difficult. Building anything at this scale would require time, coordination, and repeated return to the same location. Not a one-time effort, but a sustained project. In a narrow valley in the Andes, surrounded by steep mountains and fast-moving rivers, stands Ollantaytambo, one of the most precise stone sites ever built. At first glance, it looks like a fortress. Terraces climb the hillside, pathways cut through the rock. Everything feels controlled, intentional. But the closer you get, the stranger it becomes. At the top of the site sits a structure often called the temple sector. Here, massive stone blocks, some weighing over 50 tons, are fitted together with remarkable accuracy. The surfaces are smooth, the joints are tight. There's no visible mortar.
These aren't rough stones stacked for stability. These are shaped, placed, and aligned with care.
And yet, many of these stones never reach their final position. Some lie halfway up the slope. Others rest at angles.
Which raises the first question. How were these stones moved here at all? The nearest quarry lies across the valley,
separated by a river and uneven terrain. Transporting stones of this size would require coordination, manpower, and control over movement. On slopes where even walking is difficult. No modern tools, just gravity, leverage, and planning. And still, they made it this far. But then comes the second question. Why stop? There's no clear sign of collapse, no evidence of a natural event. That forced abandonment at this exact stage. The site wasn't destroyed, it was left incomplete. Some suggest it was interrupted by conflict. Others point to shifts in leadership or priorities. But none of these fully explain the precision already achieved, followed by a sudden halt. And there's another detail that doesn't quite fit. The stone faces show signs of advanced shaping, flat planes, sharp edges, consistent geometry. This level of finish requires time and repetition. It's not experimental, it's practiced. Which means this wasn't the beginning of a technique. It was the continuation of one, in one of the harshest environments on Earth.
The Sahara Desert, there are circles of stone that seem completely out of place. No rivers nearby.